Passage 11. Gentlemen of the jury, at the close of plaintiff's case and again at the close of the entire case, counsel for the defendant moved to dismiss the complaint. Both those motions, you will remember, were denied by me. From the denial of those motions, you are not to infer that the court is of the opinion that the plaintiff should succeed. Those are simply rulings on questions of law, to the effect that if there is a question of fact involved in any case, it is the court's duty to submit that question of fact to you for your determination. Para. The law affecting a case of this kind is that before the plaintiff can recover, he must establish to your satisfaction four elements. He must prove to you that representations were made which were contrary to the facts. In other words, he has got to prove that this defendant, either though himself or through some agent authorized by him to make the statement, represented certain facts to be true. Second, he has got to prove that the defendant or the party making the representations, that if such party made them on behalf of the defendant, with his knowledge and consent, knew that said representations were false and were not the fact. Third, he has got to prove the further fact that as a result of these representations, they entered into an agreement. In other words, that such representations gave rise to the agreement that was entered into. And fourth, which is perhaps the most important element in the case, that the plaintiff relied upon the representations and that relying thereon, he was induced to enter into the agreement and suffered damage thereby. Para. It is not for you, gentlemen, in this case, to say whether this plaintiff made a good bargain with the defendant or a poor one when he entered into the agreement to purchase these premises. What you have got to determine before you can find in the plaintiff's favor is that these representations were made, that the defendant or his agent made these representations knowing them to be false, and that the plaintiff Berlin bought these premises because of said representations. In other words, that what induced him to enter into the contract for the purchase of this property was the fact that it was owned by a rich uncle of this defendant who had bought it many years before for $27,000, and that he had given it to this defendant. Para. If you find all of those facts in favor of the plaintiff, then your verdict should be for the plaintiff. If you find any one of them lacking, your verdict should be for the defendant. Para. You have heard what the plaintiff had to say. He tells you that this man Levine called to see him several times and told him that he had a bargain and that this house belonged to a rich uncle of the defendant. That there was some talk about wanting $25,000 for the property, which was reduced to $22,500, and that then the price was finally reduced to $21,750. He tells you that there was a mortgage of some $15,000 on the property, and that there was to be a second mortgage given, which was to be a purchase money mortgage. His wife was called, and she testified substantially the same as the plaintiff para. Mr. Marks was called as a witness and told you what he knows of this transaction. Mr. Marks is a reputable attorney, a member of our bar. He tells you that he had a conversation with Mr. Berlin prior to entering into the contract, and he told him not to enter into this contract without stating any reasons. He tells you further that after some delay the contract was entered into, and that this plaintiff called to see him shortly after the contract was signed and told him at that time that he did not want to take title, mentioning several reasons, but not the fact that he had been told that this property belonged to a rich uncle of the defendant. That testimony is to be considered by you in determining whether or not the plaintiff has given you the correct version as to what happened. Para. The defendant tells you that he made no such representations, and he called the janitor, Mr. Handelsman, who tells you that the plaintiff called there some 2 or 3 times, that he remembers him once in particular being there between Christmas of 1918 and New Year's of 1919, and that he showed the plaintiff through the building at that time from the basement to the top floor, and that he saw him there on 1 or 2 other occasions. That testimony is also important and should be considered by you, because even if representations are made and the party to whom the representations are made has an opportunity to see for himself whether or not the facts are as stated, it will help you in determining as to whether or not he relied upon the representations which he claims were made to him. Para. The plaintiff has the burden of proof. By that it is meant that he must establish his case substantially as alleged by a fair preponderance of the evidence. By a fair preponderance of the evidence, however, is not meant the number of witnesses. It has reference to quality of testimony.